What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cheese Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and tonight I'm joined by fellow Packer fan, uh, Todd. Todd, what is up?
Not much. How you doing, Brian?
Doing pretty good. I already have one comment. I wonder who that could be. Yay, Todd.
That's my nephew. That's my nephew.
Awesome.
Yeah,
This is the
he's
last time we were
visiting
on.
tonight with my sister.
Hey, that's perfect. What are your thoughts on, I guess, like an overview of last year, how it started, how it ended, and then the start to the off season as far as like free agency, Packers staying, Packers leaving, signing elsewhere, the extensions in the front office, and all that happened in the last few weeks.
So, overview of last season was pure bliss and excitement to start the year, and then crashing down when the Packers seemed to do the most Packery thing by losing to lesser opponents. We always find a way, regardless of what it is. It's never a blowout. It's always a special teams whatever, a missed tackle on defense, a poorly run route and bad throw on. It's just one or two things that cause us to cascade into a loss, and that continued throughout the year. I think when we were in Denver, and that was one of the games that I had circled as a trap game, that I thought that was really going to define our season. And unfortunately, I was right, but it was because of injury, not because of the play, right? And I mean, that was the number one team in the AFC, and the Packers were in control of that for at least a half. And then the wheels came off. And even with the wheels coming off, there was still hope. They still made the playoffs. But I mean, I think if you take Zach Tom, Micah Parsons, and Tucker Kraft off of a team, even if you would have had just one of those guys, you might have had a better chance at winning that playoff game. I don't know. It was gut-wrenching. It's the way that Wisconsin sports goes. It's the way that being a Packer fan goes. Come the off season, I think they've done the smart, prudent move of staying consistent with the idea that they're no longer going to be the youngest team in the league. So I think there was maybe a conversation that was had that was like, okay, the cupboards are stocked. Now we need to go and find the 30-year-olds that can teach our young kids how to be men in the NFL and bring about winning a Super Bowl. So I think the next 2 years are going to be an indictment on LaFleur. I think they're going to be an indictment on Gutekunst. And they might not see the third year if they don't produce a Lombardi in the next two.
Yeah, because I mean, you get the talent like a Micah Parsons on your team, and granted, he was doing awesome until he got hurt, and you think about the stuff that happened before he got hurt. Had it went the other way, he wouldn't have most likely gotten hurt. Like that interception to Watson. Wasn't that if he would have caught that, defense wouldn't have been out there. They're saying a whole bunch of stuff about putting the blame on Watson, but it's all just a freak of the game. It's just how it happens. You can't, you can look back at all the bad spots that happened during the season and blame this and blame that, but at the end of the game, that's how the cracker crumbles. It's just how it is, and that's what makes sports great. Whether it happens to benefit your team or not, it's the way it is.
Yeah, and I think a player like Micah Parsons, like if you look at the cornerbacks that are currently the starters, like 12, 13, 14, whatever number of games they played with Micah Parsons on the field, not even as a full-time starter, they were positive in their PFF grades, right? And then you look at the 5 games that they played without him, and they were astronomically horrible. Like,
Yeah.
and so are the corners good enough in Green Bay right now to compete for a championship? Well, they are if Micah Parsons is on the field, right? But then there's what happens if he's not, right? And so, yeah, that's a room that definitely needs to be upgraded. That's a room that doesn't have a lot of people signed into 2027. So you're going to have to make some. You're gonna have to spend some capital there, right? But the idea that you have one player, it's like what's the Indianapolis Colts coach that said, why doesn't the backup to Peyton Manning get any reps? And he's because we don't practice when everything goes to heck. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's what Micah Parsons is for the defense. And, when he's not out there,
Oh yeah.
when he's not out there, there's like, I don't know, not a good chance that the defense is going to be able to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, like you mentioned too, like the cornerbacks. I know I've said it several times. Like thinking of last year when Parsons was there, he was making the cornerbacks look like all pros. You get to that quarterback and that before the clock hits 3 seconds, they're going to be looking awesome. But when they're not getting to the pressure on the quarterback, they're getting burned, and that's a huge problem. You got to get to that quarterback, and this is why I sucks that Rashawn Gary couldn't produce this year to live up to his past, but we had to move on. You drafted Colin Oliver, you got Baron Sorrell. You probably assuming you're going to get Micah back after the 3rd or 4th game, and I think he's gonna have one of his best years of his career next year when he comes back, because he's just that type of player, and he's gonna draw extra attention, and you're gonna have the young guys opposite of him that want to eat and make that money, and they're gonna want to make those plays. So I think you're gonna see a different defense next year, a more hungry defense to get to that quarterback.
Well, and two, did you see on Twitter where they were all practicing together?
Yep.
Yep. I mean,
And then you get back to Vontae Wyatt. There's another big body up the middle that can take up double teams. If you got him getting double team, you triple team with Micah Parsons. There's no reason why Rashawn Gary had no sacks the last 9 games of the year. No reason whatsoever. It's inexcusable. It really is.
Yeah. If Rashawn Gary was playing defensive end and I was playing the other defensive end, he would have made me look like Micah Parsons made him look, right? Like, yeah. I'm 60 years old and not athletic, right? Like, yeah. So, right. I mean, he's like, Micah Parsons made Rashawn Gary look like me, and that's an NFL caliber player that had a huge incentive contract to be much better, be just much better.
Yeah, I can't remember the game, maybe, but you had the quarterback rolled out. Was it against the Bears? No, it couldn't have been. Well, the quarterback rolled out to Rashawn Gary's side, and here you had Micah Parsons coming from the opposite side, burned past Gary, and Gary's just sitting there jogging. No way. Get off the field, man. There's no reason for that. Get out there. Doesn't matter if Parsons has him. Parsons could miss a tackle, and if you're hustling right behind Parsons, you're there to back him up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, you're getting paid $1 gajillion to wear the green and gold, and you're putting forward that kind of effort. It just wasn't like everybody saw it too. I mean, that's the thing. Like, even non-ball knowers, sitting at the bar on their 4th or 5th, old fashioned, were like, he's not trying. and you're like, he's not trying, So yeah, it was pretty bad. But my hope is, LVN comes back healthy. You got these young guys that step up. I think they've got a lot of potential, but potential only gets you so far. But now that we've got, you know, we've we've traded Quay for that linebacker from Indianapolis, Franklin, or that's his name, right? Yeah. And
Yeah,
so,
Zaire
and
Franklin.
then and then we've got Javon Hargrove in the middle to help out with Wyatt. Like, I think if they can if they can do the mentorship for the younger players, sort of how like our safety room is, right? Because that's definitely the room to look at. I think for the Packers, as far as like this is how it needs to go forward, right? You've got young kids in there, and then you've got Xavier McKinney who's teaching them how to be a pro, right? And coaching only goes so far. I think when you have leadership and ownership amongst the players to get better, I think that's when you become a hungry team.
Yeah, it's it's crazy how much one to three players can affect the whole defense. You mentioned you know not getting to the quarterback. You don't get to the quarterback, you're making those guys in the defensive backfield just react quick. It's just it's not fair to them if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback. You know what I mean? What's the point of having a defensive line if you can't pressure the quarterback? Or and if it's not working for a quarter or two, why not try to scheme up some type of blitz to get to that quarterback? To get the
Yeah.
line thinking, hey, they beat us. They can do it again, instead of just sitting there playing. I mean, there's no excuse for Rashad or Micah Parsons getting triple teamed and nobody else is getting to the quarterback on that line. You have three guys taking on one guy. There's, presume it's the center, a guard, and a tackle. There's another guard and tackle that are taking on four guys. I mean, come on, really? It's plus we have linebackers rushing. Uh, I don't know. As far as Quay Walker, sucked to see him go. It did, but I think you get Zaire Franklin, who's one of the top tacklers in the NFL. He's team captain, and you got Adrian Cooper out there, set him wild, and you got the sure tackler McDuffie. Well, he gets pretty bad in pass coverage, but I think I like what the Packers are doing. I guess I always think of it as like addition by subtraction. You're giving you're giving the younger guys a chance to step up and prove themselves. And I think with getting these new coordinators in, I think too, Gannon was a head coach. I think that's crucial, getting a defensive coordinator that's been a head coach in the league versus just a coordinator. He knows how to manage a whole team, and now he's just going to be managing a defense. So I
Yeah.
think that's huge.
And I think the other thing to notice about the Packers when they announced all those coaching positions was the defensive line coach is now the assistant defensive head coach and outside linebackers coach. So to me, that says 3-4 maybe more of the base than
Yeah,
the 4-3 that we played under Halfley. And then that means that you're going to have, LVN, Micah, Franklin, and Quay, or excuse me, not Quay, but Edrin Cooper. And then if you had Devontae Wyatt, Hargrove, and, whoever else is going to be in there on the defensive line, I mean, that's a pretty stout 3-4.
yeah,
But if they're playing nickel, then you're only going to have two defensive linemen, and then you'll have Javon Bullard in there. So, I mean, that would be pretty awesome too. So,
yeah. Just don't put
um,
Mike at corner.
Yeah, we tried that with Preston Smith, right?
Yeah,
But
didn't work out too well.
no, that
What
didn't
was it,
work out.
like third and not, or third and 10, and we had our receivers, or we had our defensive backs playing like 12 yards off the ball. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
12 yards off the ball, and then Preston Smith standing up and and covering a
Yeah,
zone coverage it's 7 yards deep on a like running back or whatever. Oh, it was just awful. It
yeah,
was awful.
that was terrible. So what are your thoughts? I mean, you kind of touched on the front office extensions of like Russ Ball and Goody and LaFleur. Do you think I mean, if they're within a year or two, if there's no progress, you think they're gone?
I think I think LaFleur is gone for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, if the talent if the talent is being evaluated by, you know, Ed Policy, that the talent's good enough and it's just coaching, then maybe Goody keeps his job. Um, I don't think Russ Ball should ever go anywhere. I mean, he's such a wizard at the salary cap. I mean, I don't know why he should be tied to wins and losses, right?
yeah.
Like, are the Packers good financially or are they not good financially? And if they're good financially and they can make the moves that they need to be able to make in order to stay competitive, then Russ Ball should keep his job. Um, but yeah, I definitely think that it's a 2 year window for LaFleur. If he doesn't bring home the Lombardi in the next 2 years, I think he's gone.
I should this year take my like neighborhoods, like kids from neighborhoods, and they trick or treat. Like they hop to like other neighborhoods besides their own neighborhood to get candy. I should go over to Ed Policy's neighborhood and go trick or treating with my kids, and then he opens the door. I should ask him question and just as a joke. But no, it's yeah. I mean, like Russ Ball, like you said, he has his job. He wants to make sure the Packers are afloat. He's doing a good job of that. And then it comes down to Goody. It's his job to kind of make sure everything is running smoothly as well. And I'm sure he evaluates talent as well because you see him at all these pro days and whatnot. LaFleur, the coach can't go out and play for you, but he should be able to give you the knowledge to go out and play. And that's why you have your positional coaches to get you in position to make plays to do your job. So it shouldn't go back to Ball. No, if anyone is on a hot seat at Lambeau, it would be LaFleur and Goody within the next couple of years.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
if you're gonna extend them as a tandem, and if they don't succeed in like 2 or 3 years, they should be let go as a tandem as well. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense for me, and and it's it's not like the Packers don't have a pipeline of general managers, right? Like, look at all the other teams in the NFL that have GMs that have gone through Green Bay, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's it's the Shanahan tree, but it's Ted Thompson. You know what I mean? It's Ron Wolf, Ted Thompson. That's the tree of GMs that is currently right now doing well in the NFL. I mean, both of last year's two Super Bowl teams were both tied to Green Bay.
yeah. They're both pretty sure Schneider was born in Green Bay in De Pere,
Yeah,
and then obviously Elliot Wolf was Ron Wolf's grandson, right, or his son?
I think it's his son.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're both like you said. They're both from Green Bay, and even you look back to, you know, you go back to even like Reggie McKenzie when he was doing really good. He got like the GM job out in Oakland, and it's just Andy Reid. Look at Andy Reid. He's John Gruden. I mean, they all started in Green Bay. Um, so yeah, I think LaFleur has the smarts, obviously, to be a good head coach. He's proven it in the past. His play calling, I think, is pretty elite. when he wants to be. You go back and you look at Dallas a couple years ago in the playoffs. They annihilated Dallas. Like, I think they kind of let up midway through the third quarter, into the fourth, to where they had to put their starters back in the game to make sure, nothing weird happened, and they ended up losing that game. But, I think we'd regret getting rid of LaFleur this early, because we know what he's capable of doing. And when he's calling a good game, he's the best coach in the world. And when he has a few bad games, they're bad games. Like, everyone wants him gone, but they seem to forget that, he's a really good play caller. So I think we're sitting good right now. We just got to get, we got to get maybe a couple more free agents, build through the draft. 2027, right now we have a ton of draft picks. And I think we're sitting pretty good right now. We have a good quarterback. We have a good line. Hopefully we can come back from the injuries and be healthy to start the season, minus Micah. But even if we get Tucker Kraft back, that's going to draw attention. It's going to free up our receivers. We'll have Watson and Reed and Matthew Golden and Zach Tom. Yeah, I mean, people are like, oh, what's Matthew Golden going to do? Look what he did against the Bears in the playoffs. That's a quick flash in the pan of what he can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if they go this whole off season knowing what they have at receiver, they're going to have some schemes for him. I mean, between Watson, Reed, and Golden, the speed we have with receivers, then you have Wicks, and you have Tucker Kraft, and you have, that was the whole difference. Was it sucked when we lost Tucker Kraft. He was like our relief valve. Like when we couldn't find an open read for receivers, there he was for a dump pass, and then he caught it, and he got yards after the catch and contact.
10 yards. 10
Yeah.
He got a first down every time they throw him the ball, practically.
So he's going to have motivation. Like I said, I think Micah Parsons is going to have a huge chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to have one of his best games, best careers, best year of his career this next season. By far. He's got motivation. He's mad.
And I think when you go back to that comment you made earlier, by addition, by subtraction, right? Like, I love Romeo Doubs. I love the fact that he never had a smile on his face. He was kind of like Eeyore, kind of like always had that little frown going on. But if we go down to 4 instead of having 5 wide receivers, like if you have Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Dontavian Wicks, and you have Golden and Watson out there when you're running 2, you have Reed out there when you're running 3, and then you rotate Wicks in on the 3 receivers, right? I think having fewer options clarifies things. I think you start getting people more into a rhythm in the game. You're not having to spread the ball out so much. I don't think they're going to be adding Bo Melton in on wide receiver as much as they did last year if they don't have to, but that was because of injury, right? I think Skylar Moore is just going to be he's just going to be a special teams guy. He's going to be returning kicks, returning punts, and I don't think he's necessarily going to get that many touches on the offense, but I think by limiting the number of receivers, I think that almost does more for LaFleur than it does for Love. Because I think that LaFleur doesn't feel like he has to, I got to throw this ball now to Dobbs, and then I got to throw that ball to Wicks, and then I got to throw one to Christian, the next one to Christian. Oh, I forgot about Matthew Golden for 2 quarters. Here we go, Matthew Golden. You know what I mean? Like if you get it down to 4 in the rotation and it's steady, then I think that people can develop rhythms, and I think a natural succession of who the number 1 wide receiver is will happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm excited to see the speed on offense. You know what I mean? we know we have it. We just got to see more of it. We can't let it last one half or one quarter and have it be done. We got to keep on going. We got to keep on scheming. You got to be 3 steps ahead of that defense. And one thing that's kind of surprising is to see all the Bears defense that they're losing in the offseason. They lost like everybody. And we're slicing. That's another thing too. Like we're slicing up their defense like melted butter. And that one play where you had Christian Watson go across the middle, and caught it, and ran it all the way up. We saw that once, and that was it. Why not go back to it or do it from the other side?
Yeah.
And if something worked that obvious and they're still overplaying that type of formation, do it until it doesn't work. But don't sit there and do the trips left and you have your running back flare out behind the trips and do a halfback screen for a loss of 3. I mean, my kids are calling that play before it even happened.
Yeah. That was. I think it's been probably 2 years for me that, and I do not consider myself any kind of guru as far as like formations and what's going to happen and all of this, but just watching Packers games on Sunday, like I'm not going back and watching film. I'm not going back and like dissecting anything on the NFL 22 or anything like that, right? Just me for 3 hours watching a Packer game during a season. By mid-season, if they line up in certain formations, I can call a play. And I'm not anybody, right? Like, and the people who are getting paid to watch film, if I can see it, I know they can see it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He is a great play caller. LaFleur is such a good play caller when he's in his bag and things are working, but I don't know what happens when he just stops. He just stops. It's like, we've done enough, we're going to win, or we've done enough. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Somebody just needs to continue to tell him to step on the gas,
Yeah. Well, that should be the assistant head coach's job, Bisaccia. And one thing that absolutely drove me nuts with the play calling was like the third and 1, 4th and 1. You're in the pistol formation and you dive up the middle. Why do you drop back 4 to 5 yards to gain 6 yards? At that point, you might as well just do a quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why not sit there and have Jordan Love 10 yards off the ball with his hands on his hips like Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, and have your running back go in motion, have a tight end go in motion, and get up behind the center, hike the ball, and go forward. Why do you drop back 4 to 5 yards to have to gain 6 yards from the point of the ball being touched? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it.
No, and there was a stat that was floating around Twitter about Jordan Love's production in 3rd and long, but part of the reason why his production was so high is that we were in 3rd and long so many times because we had crappy run calls on 1st and 2nd down. It was just, I don't know. I don't think we throw the ball enough on 1st down.
Carson, please fire Matt LaFleur. I think right now, I think they'd be dumb to fire him right now. Like I said, I do think he is a good coach. I just think that he needs to be given I think he knows. Just keep that foot on the gas and don't give up.
That was my nephew who changed his handle.
Yeah, I figured that, but yeah.
Anyhow,
Carson, I think LaFleur is a good coach.
What's funny is that watch football games with my nephew, and I'm always having to reel him back in because he is like bad play, whatever happened, it's like fire that guy, get rid of them, kick him to the curb, whatever, and then or fire the coach or fire whoever, right? But then good play, it's like okay, but then like there's no middle. I mean,
Yeah,
he's 12, so I mean
yeah.
13.
Do you
So
do
yeah,
you think Josh Jacobs has a better? Do you think he best his season from last year, just next year? Do you think he
oh
has a
yeah,
better season? Yeah.
yes, absolutely,
As long as they don't have him returning punts or kickoffs, right? Even
yeah,
though,
no
like,
kidding.
I didn't have any issues with him returning kickoffs because he was fast. He got yards, but my heart dropped about a million times when he fumbled it, you know? But still, I'm glad they went out and got Sky Moore. He's a good running back. You need to have consistency on the offensive line, no dumb mistakes, and have discipline, coach discipline, you know? It's,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better. I think Jordan Morgan is an upgrade from Rasheed Walker. I mean, you see what all the NFL teams thought about Rasheed Walker. I mean, Packer fans thought he was going to get some $20 million a year contract, and he ends up getting a 1 year deal with Carolina, right? So, I
Well,
mean,
look at Jordan Love last preseason. He was ranked one of the top linemen in preseason. Was he not?
yeah, yeah,
He was. So we're thinking, oh, this guy's going to be great, you know, and they just got to have more consistency, and hopefully the injury bug doesn't go up and down that line because you have a guy established somewhere and you move him somewhere else. It's a lot, a
yeah.
lot to remember.
And I think Sean Ryan at center being able to start there at the beginning of the year is a good deal. I think Belton being the right guard is going to be a really good thing. So yeah, I think that the offensive line is going to be a lot better. I think that um, Josh Jacobs is going to have a much better year than he had, a much more productive year than he had last year, because hopefully, like I think he got like 90% of his yards were after first initial contact, right?
Yep.
Like I mean that's insane. Like if you could just give him a 3 yard window and then get hit, he would have had 1,500 yards, but he's getting hit at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage and he's still picking up positive yards. So, yeah, pretty crazy.
Do you think they use picks to trade up in the draft?
I don't see anybody worth trading up for, unfortunately,
Yeah.
that they're going to be able to reach. Um, I mean, I don't think there's an I don't think there's a Packer type of corner that is worth reaching for. And by Packer type, I just mean size and weight and speed. Um, I don't think there's anybody on the defensive line. Like one of the problems that I'm seeing with all this is like a lot of these players have not tested yet. They don't have RAS
Right.
scores, right? And we know that that's good against one's bigger, faster, stronger, right? And you got to prove it. And if you know, like that kid out of Georgia, what was his name? I wrote it down. Hold on one second. Christian Miller, right? Like he on film looks like exactly the type of player that the Packers should have along the defensive line. But if he doesn't test, I don't know if they take him.
Come on, Carson. We're not trading Love to the Raiders for Mendoza. Come on, that's out of the
Oh my
question.
gosh.
Come
Oh
on,
my
Todd.
god.
Come on, Todd. No, I think. What are your thoughts on the Benjamin St. Juste from the free agent? He's 6'3" for a corner, and he's not afraid to hit somebody and tackle. I think that could be a positive for the Packers. And if we
It's,
if we have that defensive front getting to that quarterback, he's gonna be productive at corner. You know what I mean? He could be productive.
I think I think it's a three-way between Nixon, Valentine, and St. Juice, and I think they could draft somebody, but most rookies are bad always, right? So I mean, like, Yeah, I think between the three of them, they can find two serviceable corners. Um, if our defensive backs just caught the balls that were thrown to them, um, we would probably have not as many problems as we did last year. Like you just gotta like it's just you can't drop the ball when it's I mean that's I
Yeah,
get it.
wasn't that McKinney?
Yeah, and I love the dude, but I mean it's like come on, you can't drop turnovers that are that just I don't want to say easy because nothing's easy in the NFL, but that seemingly are that easy to make that kind of turnover and then just muff it. It's horrible.
Yeah. I think Aaron Banks will come back and he'll prove he was worth getting this last year. Injuries suck, and I think he'll bounce back and have a good, productive offseason. And I think he'll prove crucial for the Packers' offensive line this year. I mean, you want to hope the best for him, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But we still got Carl Brooks. We got Bretton Cox Jr. We recently re-signed Aaron Mosby.
So that,
Colin, Colin Oliver, Parsons, Burns, Sorrell. Yeah, I remember last year. Was it last year or the year before? It was the year. Tyron Hopper's first year. So that was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. I think I went to the preseason game against the Ravens at Lambeau. And I remember Bretton Cox Jr. had a great game. Tyron Hopper had a great game. I remember Aaron Mosby having a great game. So they've shown that they can play. I just think with Rashawn Gary being gone, there's going to be more of a rotation with younger players that are going to make more of an impact. Bretton Cox, he showed signs of being good. I mean, come on, let's face it, they're professionals. They know what they're doing out there.
Yeah, and I think it's the same thing I was talking about at receiver, right? Like you give these guys more opportunities to be on the field, and they're going to have a chance to actually prove their worth being on the field. You can't do that from the sidelines. And if you're paying Rashawn Gary a gajillion dollars, he's got to be out there, and half the time he can't even be out there because he's tired and winded, right? So, there was that whole thing, too, that he can't play 3 downs in a row because he's winded. So I think, that whole thing that Micah Parsons was talking about, conditioning and making sure that you're a pro and all that stuff, I think a lot of that was probably directed at Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, he was. I forgot. I did the math on what he made last year and divided it by the number of sacks he had, and the amount of millions he got per sack was just. I wanted to throw up, Yeah, it was just crazy. But like I said, I think having decent players to rotate in at those spots, and that way you can give Micah a rest, or hell, even put some productive guys in Micah's spot, have Micah drop back at linebacker. Why not? Or move, what I'm saying?
Inside linebacker in college.
Yeah.
He played inside linebacker in college.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you found, holy crap. Okay, just think about this. You put Cooper on the outside, you put Micah in the middle, you got our new guy in the middle, Xavier, and then you have one of the other young kids on the outside. And then you put LVN as a defensive tackle or defensive end in a 3-4 with his hand in the dirt. You could get really creative and really have a lot of speed on the defense because there's a lot of speed on the defense.
Yeah, there is. And, two guys, if we didn't even mention, Todd, on the defensive line, Warren Brinson, Nazir Stackhouse. Those are some big boys, and they're Georgia boys.
Yeah,
we know how Georgia is in college football. They're aggressive, they're mean, they're hard hitting. And speaking of hard hitting, I want to touch on something too that I think the Packers need to get, some type of motivational speaker in there to talk to their whole team about. If you see your quarterback after the play, during the play, getting his head bounced off that turf. And the only ones to step up are the coaches on the sidelines and the special teams players or the reserves. You need to go in and fight for that quarterback. In Denver, when that guy bounced Love's head off the ground and no one did a damn thing to him, that's got to change. You think back when Aaron Rodgers, if that would have happened to Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, there would have been bench clearing brawls.
TJ Lang, get TJ Lang to come in and be that emotion, that speaker, right? TJ Lang is the person that they need to bring in and tell the offensive line to man up.
Lang, Bakhtiari, you name it. I mean, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think one guy too. I think that hopefully has a really good year this year. He can figure out. Like I was reading an article saying that he should take as much money as possible to figure his body out, to keep his body right. Is Marshawn Lloyd? What he showed us last year in a few plays that he played, he was amazing. He was good. He was as good as he was in his college highlight tape, But the injury bug caught him. I think he has a talent. He just needs to, and like they said, invest in his body and keep his body straight, and he can be productive for the Packers. And I think that's the reason why the Packers still have him on their team.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I like him. I like his attitude. There's a picture of him in his rookie year where he is he's not even in pads. He's just got the jersey on, and it was one of those summer practices where they're not wearing pads or whatever. Looks super jacked. Does not have a smile on his face. If anybody on the defense outside of, the Myles Garretts and the Micah Parsons tried to tackle him, they'd be afraid. And it was like, that guy has got something special. It's just that his body is failing him. And I don't know, sleep in a hyperbolic chamber or something. Like, I don't know what you need to do, but like, you need to do all of the things to be able to go out there and show your talent. Because I do think that he could be that lightning to the thunder of Josh Jacobs.
What they should do is they should just, after the season's done, they should just ship him to UW-Madison, keep him locked up there and studied, and take care of him, and bring him back in the off season, make sure he's all good. No, I'm joking. I think he has a lot of talent. I think if he can stay healthy, he's going to be like he reminds me of, maybe it's because of his number, but remember Brandon Jackson for the Packers? Yep. He kind of reminds me of him, but like a bigger version of him. Actually, Brandon gives me a memory when my firstborn had to have been maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I think I was living in the Green Bay area maybe 1 or 2 years at this time, and we went to a Packers. We went up to Lambeau Field. We watched a little bit of practice. Went to the pro shop. I remember getting one of those pink mini helmets, and this was back when they had the gate around the Packers players parking lot where you get the chain link gate. I have a picture of me holding my daughter, handing the pink helmet over the gate to Brandon Jackson to sign. And I actually got, I think it was TJ Lang's rookie year too, and he signed the helmet as well. So, yeah, I'll always have love for those two Packers because they took the time out to come over and talk to the fans. So that was pretty cool. That's but awesome. No, I think with the coaching staff, the Packers have had the turnover. One thing I like about, like I said, about the coaching staff is they used to be head coaches. They can command a whole room of players. You know what I mean? So I think that's good. I'm just looking forward to the season. I just want the draft to get here. I'm excited to see who they draft. You said that you're looking at some mock drafts. Where do you see them going?
I think if there's 1 or 2 corners, well, they don't have a first round pick, so the second round pick. If a corner is there that they think can potentially be a shutdown, maybe not immediately, but the following year. Somebody like Stukes from Arizona, that kid's like 6'2", 200 pounds, runs like a 4.3. I think he makes really good sense. If corner's not there, though, I would not be surprised if, and then the next need is defensive line. But a lot of the problems with the defensive linemen is that they haven't tested yet. So whether they test or not at their pro day, whether or not that becomes public, I mean, I don't know. Goody was just down in Georgia, right? So
weird.
Yeah. And somebody on Twitter said, like, he doesn't even get a visitor's pass anymore. They're just like, oh, yeah, hey, Mr. Goodikins, yeah, just go right in because he's there so much.
They have the model, same logo, different colors.
Yeah, there you go. I think a sneaky need for the Packers, and I don't know if they would go higher than a third on it, but running back. We were just talking about running back, right? And if Marshawn Lloyd can't be counted on to be that. I mean, I know they got Chris Brooks. I know they signed him. I know that he's good at pass pro, but he's not Emmanuel Wilson. And so who's this year's Emmanuel Wilson, right? And if it can't be Marshawn Lloyd, then do the Packers put some capital into running back? The kid out of Arkansas is just crazy good, but I mean, he's going to be gone by the third round. So that would mean that they would have to probably spend a second round. And I don't know if you go second round running back, if your cornerback's not there, that just, there's too many needs, I think tight end's kind of sneaky too. I like the kid out of Stanford, Sam Roush or whatever his name is.
Yep.
But that's probably more like fifth or sixth round. I also like Jack Kelly out of Utah State. I think it's Utah State. But he has like a 9.81 RAS score, and he'd probably be available like in the 180s on the pick. So, 6th, 7th round. So there's a lot of talent there that aren't premium positions. And that's why this is an odd draft, I think, for the Packers, because the positions that they usually have as premium, like offensive tackle, edge, cornerback, there's not that much talent at those positions, but there's a lot of talent at center, but we just re-signed, Sean Ryan, so I don't know. I don't know where the draft is going to go. I'm going to be very interested to see how they do. But I have to say that this is a great year not to have a number one pick. Because
and even like they're even saying, teams are going to load up not for this year's draft, but for the draft after, because that's supposed to be a really good draft class. So if they're going to be trading players for picks, I'd be going for the 2027 draft. I mean, like I said, the Packers don't really have a good track record drafting in the first round. I mean, you have, Jordan Love and whatnot, and Aaron Rodgers, but for the most part, they get a lot of their success out of the later draft picks. They
take these big swings. They take big swings on first, and they take big swings on the first round picks, and they work or they don't work. And Jair Alexander worked until he got hurt, but Eric Stokes did it. But Eric
literally,
Stokes, until
Jair Alexander literally worked until he didn't. It worked until he got hurt.
And Stokes was great in college, and he's great in Las Vegas, but he was not what Green Bay needed for their scheme. So
I liked Eric Stokes. It sucked that it's just. I liked him. I remember that game when he played for Georgia when he had the 2 interceptions. Was it in the national championship game?
Yeah.
That's what I remember him from. But then, even just like his attitude, on his way out of Green Bay, he's like, oh, yeah, there's nothing to do in Green Bay. All the food places are closed by 10 o'clock at night. Dude, be self-sufficient and cook for yourself, Hire someone to come in and make food for you, But whatever. I'm glad he's doing good in Vegas. Good for him. Got a few questions for you. Overreaction or reality? I want to get your opinions on some of these, and then I want to ask you some random questions from around the NFL. Sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
The Packers will host a playoff game this year. Overreaction or reality?
Reality.
Jordan Love will throw 35 plus touchdowns this year.
Reality.
A Packers wide receiver will get 1,200 yards receiving.
Reality.
Defense finishes top 10 overall.
Reality.
Okay. Now I want to go to some things from around the NFL that has happened. Well, but some things that have happened and some just random questions. What are your thoughts on the Max Crosby trade debacle in Baltimore?
I think that the tampering period, the so-called tampering period, right, has all of us believing that when you get an announcement from ESPN or wherever, Twitter, that it's a done deal. And it's not a done deal until the league year starts and the contracts are signed. And until then, everybody has the opportunity to walk away from the deal. And I think that Baltimore Baltimore probably made the trade for Max Crosby and then figured out that they could get a better deal from Cincinnati and went with that and just said that he failed his physical. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I look at it like this. So Baltimore let people go maybe once Max Crosby was going to sign with them, right? And then all of a sudden they're not going to take him, so then they're sitting there with all these spots that are open. Maybe they screwed the team over, maybe they didn't. But then on the other hand, the Raiders made all these deals with other players to make their team better, which they did. But then all of a sudden the trade doesn't go through. Then you get Max Crosby joining all the signings that Oakland did or Las Vegas did, which that team might have a decent defense this year. You know what I'm saying? They got Quay Walker, they got Nicole Dean from Philadelphia, Georgia boy. They got Max Crosby back. They got So I think Vegas got better, and I think it favored Vegas, And if you look at Max Crosby's numbers compared to Trey Hendrickson, I mean, Trey Hendrickson would get hit if he had a good block against him on offense or when he was on defense. He gave up. Crosby didn't. You can see Hendrickson getting pushed to the side, and Crosby's trying to find his way past that lineman. Hendrickson just gave up. So I think Oakland got the better end of the deal, to be honest.
If they can make the money work, right? That was the whole thing with. Now they've got that $30 million or whatever it is that Max Crosby costs, and now it's back on their books. And they
I heard they made all the moves with the money. They made it. All the moves that Oakland made would have worked even if Max Crosby was still on the team.
Oh, that's awesome then. Yeah.
So yeah, they like I'm saying they really made out for what happened. To be honest,
Yeah, that's a good deal for them then. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. Who do you think the most overhyped team is right now? I don't know. We haven't did the draft or anything, but
Chicago.
Alrighty.
Just Chicago.
Yeah. Speaking of, I know
they're insufferable. They're insufferable on X. I mean, they're so. Oh my gosh. I don't want to give them any airtime. They drive me crazy. They drive me absolutely crazy.
I think it's absolutely hilarious. Just the thought of them, if they do go to Indiana, that's just hilarious.
That is hilarious.
You know how funny that would be? With the Bears records, would they follow the team to Indiana, do you think? Yeah?
Yeah, I think it would be like a New York Jets, New York Giants playing in Jersey thing. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're in Jersey, that's where they play, but they still keep their New York name. I still think they keep their Chicago name. They would just happen to play in Indiana. And so I think that that's the way that that one would work. Um, but that doesn't mean that we can't talk trash about it, because we certainly
Uh,
can talk trash about it, because they talk about our worthless pieces of paper all the time. But those are the worthless pieces of paper that keep the Packers in Green Bay and not moving to wherever. The UP. They're going to move to the UP, right?
could you imagine though, like if they just think of this, just think of the Bears if they ever did move to like Dubuque, Iowa. You know, and when they use like hashtag the Bears, like instead of DA, they could use like DUH, like duh Bears. You know, no, I think it's hilarious. I really do. I think it's funny. You know, there are some Bear fans that I can't stand on X, but for the most part, I just sit back and just like watch the show. You know, get that bag of popcorn and
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I don't have any hatred toward them, but they drive me crazy, right? Like a lot of them are funny, a lot of them are funny, and a lot of them think they know ball, and and then here they are calling Jordan Love. You see things like, oh, every Packer fan would take Caleb Williams on year 3 instead of Jordan Love on year 6. Like, no, no, that's not a thing. Nobody's ever said that. Like, in the entire world, nobody's ever said that. But, like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
yeah. Um, what star player declines this year?
I think you're gonna see it. I think you're gonna see a really down year from Kansas City and Pat Mahomes.
You
I
think
really
so?
do. Yeah. I just
Okay.
it feels tired. It feels really
Yeah,
really tired there.
especially with that injury. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, yeah, you got to feel sorry for him. You know, it sucks that type of injury, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from saying that he's going to decline. Um, I would say any Bears player, if they want to consider their players a star, have them all decline. No, I think losing DJ Moore is huge. You know, I think
Yeah, I
losing
do too.
is huge. I mean, it'd probably be the same equivalent as us losing Romeo Dobbs. I mean, let's face it, they're both good. When playing well, they're both good receivers for us. I mean, they got whatchamacallit to step up, that rookie from last year. I can't think of his name right now, but
Luther Burden.
um,
Luther Burden.
they got Burden and they got the other guy too, Roma Dunze.
Oh, Roma
But they
Dunze.
lost that.
Yeah.
They lost that Zacharias, Zacchaeus, whatever his name was. I thought so. Yeah, they're losing some players there as well. So we'll see what happens. You know, it'll be interesting to see if they can recover from that.
What I'm interested in is to see how year 2, without all the fanfare, goes for the coaching staff, right? Because when everybody says that you're a genius and you show up and everybody keeps saying that you're a genius, and then you go through your year and you do better, but it's not like they won the Super Bowl, right? And so
Yeah,
is there is and he's a hard coach. I mean, he's not necessarily a player's type of coach, right? And there was some friction when he was in Detroit. I mean, we see the way that he, handles the media when he's talking about Green Bay. There's an edge to him, and I think that that might wear on some players if the W's don't come.
yeah. I just had an idea, like a play they could run. So this is where I won't mind the trips formation, but wherever the trips are, they've got to be lined up with Coach Ben Johnson, right? So then you do the same thing, and you do your quarterback out of the backfield towards the trips formation. You overthrow the ball towards Coach Ben Johnson, and you have all 3 players or all 4 players on offense go for the ball and just have like a scrum with them. Just
There you
go,
go.
just go and just take them out. No,
There you go.
yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see the day where Matt LaFleur is in the locker room, celebrating with his players, taking his shirt off. I mean, anyway, that was just kind of bizarre to me. But who am I?
Yeah, that was bizarre. That was bizarre, very bizarre.
What team do you think will shock everybody this year?
I think Miami's going to do better than what a lot of people are thinking they're going to do.
Yeah,
I think they're borderline. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's absolutely a dearth of talent there. There is very little there, but I think that the way that Halfley can command a room, the way that he can get people to believe, I think they're going to overachieve, and I think a 500 season is definitely would be overachieving for Miami.
Yeah, I shouldn't say, I'm an expert, but I predicted that Halfley would go to Miami. I predicted that Malik Willis would go to Miami, and I said that Romeo Doubs would go to Miami too. But I got 2 out of 3 right, and I do see Miami being better than they were last year. Malik Willis, you think back to when the Packers had Malik Willis, and we saw what he could do as a quarterback out there, and it's like you think about it, it's like, damn, I kind of wish the Packers would have ran like a certain packages for him during the game. Give Jordan Love a breather. Get Malik Willis out there. Get that offense sparked a little bit, maybe if it was kind of slagging out there, and do like a wildcat formation, or just because teams weren't prepared for Malik Willis, they're preparing for Jordan Love. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you think back, and it's like, too bad the Packers couldn't have done any of that. But I wish him the best. He was a true professional in Green Bay, and we're going to miss, I think, having that type of backup quarterback.
Great guy.
And even like the GM in Miami from the Packers, or like the Packers South,
Yeah.
The Miami Packers. Crazy. Like you said, it's crazy. Like all these guys that come from the Packers. I mean, you got the GM down in Miami. It's whatever. What coach or coaches are on the hot seat heading into the season, do you think?
I think everybody in the NFC North except for Ben Johnson is probably on a hot seat. Probably LaFleur is probably the least of them, but I do think that Dan Campbell and the coach from Minnesota, what's his name? I forget.
O'Connell?
But I think O'Connell. Yeah, I think the two of them are going to be on a little bit hotter seat than LaFleur. I see Andy Reid, not because he's going to be on a hot seat, but just retiring. I think, again, going back to the tired, just feeling tired down there in Kansas City. And everybody else seems almost new. like they've just been there for a year or two. I mean, maybe the Rams coach, maybe we've got some Sean McVay wear and tear down there, but I don't know.
I think he's a hell of a coach. Your special teams coordinator messes up, and the next week he gets fired. We wouldn't know what that's like at all, No.
But I mean, almost everybody else is in the first 3 years of their contract. I mean, look, LaFleur is like one of the old guys now, So there's not that many people that have been around that long.
You mentioned Detroit, and this is kind of like, I kind of got, not like a worry feeling when I saw this, but them getting Pacheco from Kansas City is huge. Like, it's like you're going to have like 2 Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. You running back like Jahmyr Gibbs, you don't see around too often, and when you do, it's like he's not afraid to hit, he's not afraid of the contact. So then you get somebody just like him that's going to, give him a breather, or vice versa. That could be a scary backfield. I think this backfield for Detroit is going to be more effective with Pacheco minus Montgomery than they were with Gibbs and Montgomery. What do you think?
That's a possibility because I think that the blocking schemes for both can be the same, right? Like it's not like because when you had Montgomery in there, I think they were more of a power straight ahead kind of like running the ball kind of thing, and then I think they did more zone run options, and I think that if they stick with the zone run for Pachenko and Gibbs, yeah, I mean, it's a two-headed monster for sure.
Yeah,
But my thing is that
that
like Detroit, I just don't think that they can hold it together. I don't think that they can. Um, I don't think Dan Campbell's good at hiring. God forbid I say this out loud, hiring assistant coaches. I don't think he's good at hiring coordinators. I don't think he's good at putting together a staff. I think he got really lucky for that 3-year run when he had, Ben Johnson and the Jets coach, and like you can't replicate that.
yeah, you think of like Dan Campbell, and it was just it goes to show like some of his play calling, how much it hurt the Lions last year. The game was in Detroit. It was like 4th and 3 on their own side of the field, like at like the 45 to 40 yard line, and the Packers like blew it up like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. The next play was that pass to Bo Melton, or was it to Christian Watson? I can't remember, but still, that's a huge swing right there. A, it was 4th down. B, you're in your own side of the field, and then C, you got held for like a loss of yardage, and then D, the same, or the next drive for the Packers was the touchdown. Kind of blew the game open. So I mean, then you go and you think about like Matt LaFleur. I mean, how many times did we say, "Oh no, it's 4th and 1, 4th and 1. Why don't you go for it? Why are you punting it?" This and that. And he's been going for it a lot more on 4th down. I just wish that we wouldn't go back in the shotgun formation on 4th down. Do something better. Do your version of the tush push. Do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Let Tucker Kraft line up as quarterback and
he's done that
let him
before.
sneak the ball. Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
gone in
Do that.
motion, came behind the center, and they snapped it. Or
Yeah,
have like a running back and do the same thing, except have it go between Tucker Kraft's legs to the running back, and have the running back, if they're playing all the guys in the line, make sure you get that edge sealed, and then you have your running back, do a slant run to the 1st down marker. I don't know, but yeah, they've got to be more unpredictable than predictable. That's what I'm trying to say for the Packers. But what?
yeah. I like the unpredictable that's not 15 yards deep from the line of scrimmage. Like I like the
Yeah,
unpredictable that happens, within 2 or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like it seems like the Packers unpredictable ends up being 10 yards deep, and then when it gets blown up, it's a 10, 15-yard loss or whatever.
or even like the reverses with Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
Um, what team quietly improved without people noticing?
Good question. Um, I think the teams there might be golly. I don't think Dallas. I'm just running through everybody's. I think the Rams got better. Um, Seattle lost a bunch of people. San
Yeah,
Francisco, I'm not too sure about. Um, Arizona, maybe. I mean, but that's a brand new head coach, and you don't know how that's going to turn out. You know,
Don't say it's because their head coach's last name is LaFleur. Come on, Todd. We all know they're brothers, okay?
um,
Yeah, I mean, you got teams that you think about teams like that had Tua and they had Kyler Murray. These guys are like all like sought after in college, and they went to the pros, and it proved to be average. But injuries for Tua really hurt him, and Kyler just couldn't seem to get it done. And I mean, it goes to show like the transition from college to the NFL is huge, and you want to. You're paying these guys all this money to go and trade them, because aren't the Dolphins still on the hook for Tua's contract?
yeah,
Dead cap?
yeah,
Yeah.
like $100 million in dead cap money over 2 years.
Yeah.
So they got $50 million
Yeah.
in dead cap this year and next year. I think the weird thing for me right now is you almost have to wait until the beginning of the season to figure out who's going to be on your team, because there's so many teams out there right now that are in flux. You got the June 1 cuts, you got all of that stuff that's going to happen there. You've got the draft that's going to happen. You're going to have other people that are going to be cut for financial reasons in July. So it's just like it's so hard to tell who's even going to be on everybody's team right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think the Packers bring back Trayvon Diggs?
Yeah.
Knowing that they're gonna have a healthy defensive line coming back, and even a guy like him, he has the experience. He's been an All-Pro in the past. And if you're switching to a 3-4 defense, and you're gonna say you get more pressure on the quarterback, and especially when Micah comes back, you might be able to show that he's still a decent player to have on your team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think his relationship with Mike is the reason they do it. They at least give him a shot. They at least invite him to camp. They at least give him a chance to compete. And I think you do that just based upon the type of player that Micah was for you last year and all the things that he's doing in the offseason right now that are just exactly the type of leader that you want to have. And so it's not necessarily an Aaron Rodgers bring back Randall Cobb thing, but it's a, hey, we appreciate you. We know this is one of your best friends. We'll give him a shot. I mean, what's it going to cost the Packers to have him in camp?
Yeah, and they have the same agent.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Like in McKinney and Jordan Love, they all share the same agent, so that's kind of cool. I think and the thing, you can take any cornerback in the NFL, and if you're telling me that they're going to be all pro cornerbacks, if they're chasing a receiver around the field for 10, 12 seconds, no way. No cornerback can go with the receiver for that long without getting burned 9 out of 10 times. And the thing that maybe Nixon, whatever. The main reason why Nixon was getting his money was because he was an all-pro kick returner. And once they changed the rules for that, we were kind of stuck with him. And like, we'll try him at corner because of his speed. He did okay. There's times where he looked like a professional, like an all-pro cornerback. But there's other times. Let me see, the overtime tie game against Dallas, where Dak, when Micah Parsons got held, it wasn't called, and Dak had that throw it on the right sideline where Nixon was 10 yards deep in the end zone, and then he had to come back up to like the 10-yard line to make the tackle. He gets burnt too much. It's just the mistakes. People. It drives me nuts too when people talk about Jordan Love and the game against the Browns. Yeah, he had a couple of bad plays against the Browns, and he played a really good game against the Cowboys. He didn't give up the 44 points. He helped score 44 points. The defense gave up the 44 points, not Jordan Love. He played a really good game against the Cowboys. So I just think that
Another thing about Trayvon Diggs, maybe they can just bring him into camp to teach the defensive backs how to catch the ball, because that's one thing that he can do is he can catch the ball when it's thrown his way. So him and Xavier McKinney need to have kind of maybe some kind of like little powwow there and figure that whole thing out on how to catch the ball when it's thrown your way. So yeah,
Yeah, and even like going back to the Browns game. Yeah, like I said, he made a couple boneheaded plays, but in crunch time, he drove that team down the field, got them in scoring range, and then the field goal was blocked. So that wasn't Jordan Love's fault. He did his job
right.
as the quarterback, you know. So he's gonna be fine next year, I think. But
Oh yeah, he's gonna be great.
what playoff team from last year takes the biggest step back this year?
Um,
You can say Chicago. It's fine.
no, I'm not. I'm actually trying to go AFC on this one. I think it's going to be the Patriots.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be the Patriots.
you
I
think so?
think that, yeah, I think that they caught a lot of people. I think there's that first year, kind of like Vrabel, everything's going to be great. I think Jeff Hafley's going to catch some in a bottle, right? And so I think they're going to get some wins in the AFC East. So I think the Patriots could take a step back. We'll see.
I think a team that's going to improve is going to be the Titans.
Yeah, I
I
can
think
see
they're
that.
going to. I think Cam Ward's going to have a good second year. I think that they're going to improve this next year, and they're going to at least be 500. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, It's hard, you know. You never know. I mean, between now and the start of the season, injuries happen. You know, draft happens. So it's hard to say, but it's like an early prediction. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl last year, so if they go 10-7 and get out in the first round of the playoffs, that's an easy win for me because I mean, it's not like they went to the Super Bowl again. I mean, when that was what they went to last year, so I guess
Yeah,
that was a
but they played
little
against
bit
the
of
Broncos team without Bo Nix. Come on.
yeah, yeah.
What move will look genius a year from now?
Um, Drafting Jordan Morgan, yeah, drafting Morgan. I think
Yeah,
he will
I think he
be.
has potential. He has size. You just got to keep him at one spot and have him be consistent. You
Yeah,
know, it's just
I don't know
consistency
if
on the
he'll be.
line is huge.
I don't know if he'll be all pro this year, but I think that he's definitely going to get extended, and I think he's going to be the long term answer for us at left tackle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it'll look genius. Everybody's been, jaw jacking on that for Goody for 2 years now. It's just, I think that will be a big thing for the Packers if he's established at left tackle.
Oh, for sure. Um, what move will look terrible a year from now?
Drafting Caleb Williams.
Think so?
Yeah. I think he's going to get benched halfway through the year next year. I think Ben Johnson's going to have had enough of the inconsistencies or whatever. I think he's going to coach Caleb too hard. I think Caleb's not going to be able to deal with having somebody not being in his so-called corner at all times. But I think Caleb Williams is going to end up getting benched halfway through the year. And I think
Ooh.
Chicago's going to be in search of another quarterback.
Well, they got one. Their backup. Bacon's good. He is.
No,
I think he's good.
I think here's what's going to happen. I think the Packers are going to rehabilitate someone, and then they're going to hit the open market, and they're going to be the next Bears quarterback.
Who do you think is who's going to be the Packers' backup quarterback? Do you think they're going to put the work into that Kyle McCord?
No, I think who did we get right before the end of the year? Ritter? No.
Ritter?
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter?
Yeah.
From Atlanta?
Or get him or make a trade for a 7th round pick next year for the Colts quarterback, Richardson.
Yeah, I'd go after him. I mean, people are like, oh, no, he's a head case. Well, get him to Green Bay. Get him to the quarterback guru and Matt LaFleur. He'll switch him around. Look what they did. So here's the thing. What quarterback out there right now that's a free agent, that's decent, or even one on a different team, wouldn't want to get traded to Green Bay to be a backup quarterback knowing what happened to Malik Willis?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And they see that payday, that's all they're out there for is the money. Well, might as well.
And going back to what you said about Eric Stokes, right? Like, maybe there isn't a lot to do in Green Bay except focus on football, right? And so if you're going to go somewhere for 2 years and you're going to be stuck, so to speak, in Green Bay, well, then perfect your craft. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That LaFleur will not switch around to no one except his play calling. That will always suck. Hey. Come on now, Carson.
Oh my gosh. Carson.
But no.
Stop.
No, it's
okay. I'm never being invited back on your podcast now, or if I am, I can never tell my nephew when I'm going to come on.
No,
again.
it's fine. It's fine because it's fine. It's all fun. I just think I always thought that Richardson would be a good fit, in Green Bay just because he's athletic. He's not the type of quarterback that we're used to having. We're having one that can drop back in the pocket and throw the ball and whatever. But he has a good arm.
Yeah,
Richardson does, and if he can see money, dollar signs, and if he can see himself coming to Green Bay like a rehab tour, to get his game better and hit the market after 2 or 3 years, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And if we can keep our starter for 10, 15, 20 years, and if in the meantime we can bring in quarterbacks for a couple years at a time and get picks for how high they go in free agency, why not?
Exactly.
It's genius.
That's the best part about it is that we don't even have to trade them. They just come, spend 2-3 years here, hit the free agent market, get a big contract. The bigger the contract they get, the higher the pick we get in return. So, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that like you mentioned about coming to Green Bay. It helped Reggie White. Charles Woodson is known for saying there's nothing to do in Green Bay. He got done with practice or whatever. He went to his condo and he read. Look at him, Defensive Player of the Year. He's like one of the top 5 in interceptions in his career. How many pick sixes did he have? Come on. He's a legend. He's a.
He's one of my favorite players ever.
Same here. He is my favorite player ever. That's like always, but that's sometimes you come to a place like Green Bay and it's gonna there is nothing to do. You don't have that sense of going out and causing mischief or. I think back to when Zadarius Smith and Rashawn Gary and whoever else got pulled over coming back from Chicago that one time, and they had those vape pens in their car with THC and everything in it, but it never really made it past online news, But
Right.
Which team do you think overpaid the most in free agency this year? I know it still technically isn't done yet, but which team do you think overpaid for what they got and what they'll show on the field next year?
Minnesota, Kyler Murray. I think that's just, I don't think that's a good move at all. And I think now they're going to be kind of stuck with Kyler Murray. at least for 2 seasons. So, yeah, I don't think that was a good move.
Yeah, do you think it stunted their growth? I had to
I
throw
hope.
it in there. I had to throw it in there because of my Kyler Murray memes I was making. You saw those, right? Of
Yeah,
him at the press conference. All you can see is like from
yeah.
here up on his head. Yeah,
Didn't
no,
you
and
have
they go ahead.
didn't one of your memes had like a little tiny Kyler Murray in it? And then,
In his personalized
yeah,
cafeteria chair. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like when I stir the pot, I stir the pot. I guess it's all fun, But yeah, no, the Vikings, they spent a lot of money last offseason too, and it didn't show for anything. They spent like
Right.
$300 some odd million, and that's why they fired their didn't they fire their GM?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, good for them. You know, I kind of wish Aaron Jones would have came back to Green Bay, but that didn't happen. Could you imagine having him and Jacobs in the backfield?
Oh my gosh. We had that for 30 minutes, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was fun, wasn't
Best 30 minutes of my life.
it? Yeah, like, what are your thoughts on some of the players going elsewhere from Green Bay? I mean, obviously they're free agents, so they weren't technically Packers, but you had like Rasheed Walker, you had Quay Walker, you had um, some other players that I don't even I have a list of who went where. But what are your thoughts on some of them? You know, we got
At
Romeo
least
Dobbs, you got
go to the
Malik
NFC
Willis, you got
North.
Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary, Elton Jenkins, and Nagbare, Nate Hobbs, Colby Wooden, Emmanuel Wilson, Zane Anderson, Ben Simmons. I mean, I think they're
Nobody
all
went to the
replaceable.
NFC North. Nobody went to the NFC North.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because usually that's their first thing is to get revenge on the Packers.
Yeah. So I'm appreciative of that fact that, Malik Willis isn't a Viking. I'm very appreciative of that. But yeah, I again, you Russ Ball knows what he's doing, and the Packers are always drafting not for like in the 2026 draft, they're not drafting for 2026. They're drafting for 2028, right? That's what they're doing. That's kind of how their mindset always is. Um, they look at the contracts that they have and who can be extended and who can't be extended, where they can put dead cap money, how they can convert regular salary into bonus. Um, yeah, Russ I think Russ Ball doesn't get enough credit because he's got to have some kind of system. I mean, it's not a simple Excel spreadsheet or something like that, but he's got something set up where he's like, okay, we're drafting a right tackle this year because in 3 years we're not going to have Zach Tom, right? So we have to draft in 2026. We have to spend a fourth, fifth, or sixth round draft pick on a right tackle, right? And it works. I mean, it hasn't turned into Lombardi's, but I mean, this is the most competitive the Packers have been for a long stretch of time. 30 years. They've been pretty much competitive every year. And I
Yeah,
spent the first 20 years of being a Packer fan where they weren't competitive at all, right? And so it works to a point. It's just we got to get over that hump, and winning a Super Bowl is hard. Only one team does it. So
yeah, yeah. You had like all the Bears fans. Oh, they're down 21-3 or whatever the hell it was, and they came back and won. I'm like, yeah, but the next weekend you're with us next to us in Cancun. So what are you bragging about? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
we share the same sand in Cancun, buddy. It's it's I don't often poke fun at the Packers, but when I do, it's all in fun. It's yeah, those games we should have won, but a lot of little things came down, and it's all about you look at stuff that happened earlier in the game versus what happened at the end of the game. Had stuff earlier in the game went the way it was supposed to, we wouldn't have been in that situation late in the game. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that we can't control, and people with that botched onside kick that Dobbs had. You give the guy credit. Holy hell, he's in a playoff atmosphere in Chicago. It's loud. All the eyes are on you. You've dealt with mental health issues in the past. And there's so many factors, that ball bouncing at you, coming every bounce. You gotta predict which way that ball is gonna go when it comes to you. B, you have that Martian hat on. It's the guardian cap. So there's a lot of different things that factor into it. He's human. He's allowed to make mistakes. Doesn't mean you gotta come after the guy on social media about it. You know what I mean? It's a game.
That was so heartbreaking. And again, I tell my nephew this all the time. Nobody's out there trying to lose, right? Nobody's trying to lose. Everybody's out there trying to do their best, and people make mistakes, and sometimes your best, even if you're at your best, it's not good enough because the other team happens to be better that day. You know what I mean? It's not... Yeah, I going after players on social media just seems to be the worst thing that you can do as a fan. Because
I think it's actually funny, not with the fact that people go after them, but the fact that the players actually spend time to fire back, and not just DM them back. They repost, and then they reply, so we can see what the fan or the person that came after them said. And then we can see what the player says. So it's kind of funny how they're combative with it.
The replies are pretty good.
Yeah.
As you sit there in your high school letter jacket telling me that I can't catch the ball.
Yeah. Or you're sitting there in your basement and you're yelling up upstairs for your mom to bring you down dinner as you're playing keyboard warrior with some professional athlete that would doing something that you'll never, ever accomplish, and I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to sit there and freaking blast some professional athlete for making a mistake. Mistakes happen. It's part of life,
Yeah.
And coaching new sports, it's play by play. If something happens this play, forget about it, come back and it's new, next play, next game. You can't let stuff hold you back from doing your craft. We shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. So
exactly.
Go back to that. So, but what are your expectations for the Packers this next year?
I've told you this before. It's always I start at NFC Championship game. That's where I always start. If everybody's expected to be coming back from injury. Nobody new has been injured since the end of the season. So, my brain is wired for NFC Championship game. That's the expectation. I know it'll be hard to get there. But, yeah, that's where I always start at the beginning of the year is NFC Championship game.
If they do make it to the playoffs, I got to make it a point to where if it's a home game, I got to make it down to Appleton to the Paper Valley Hotel about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and pull the fire alarms to get that team out of sync and get them all messed up for the game that day. And I wonder if I'd have Packer Nation bail me out of jail for that.
We would start a GoFundMe for you. I promise. We would start a GoFundMe for you.
Could you imagine? Local Packer fan comes down to the team hotel and pulls the fire alarm and throws the team all off thing.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious. But
I bet you if you were in jail, though, you'd still get to watch the game. I bet you that the people in jail would make sure that you still got to watch the game.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine? I get stuck in a cell with a freaking Bears fan.
You probably wouldn't have as good as snacks, but you would still be able to see the game. They would still make sure you saw the game.
Oh, man. Well, listen, Todd, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Wow, hour and 36 minutes. That's crazy.
It was fun.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Once we get closer to the draft, and maybe like after the draft, I want to get you back on and get your thoughts on the direction you saw the team go in April for the draft, and we'll discuss that.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah, where can people find you? You're just on X, right?
Yeah, I'm just on X. Remember Arnie H? I try to post things about Arnie Aber, the 1920s Green Bay Packer quarterback that happened to win 4 NFL championships, and he's highly, highly underrated even by Packer fans. So please just Google Arnie Aber, even on YouTube. I try to post things about him at least once a week. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I enjoy all dog content on Twitter as well. So if you have anything about your dogs, put it up there. I will like it for sure.
Yeah, and for me, you can find me on X at cheesetalk_pod. Cheese is spelled with a Z, and you can find my link tree on there with links to my social media pages. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm actually doing a curd platter giveaway on my Facebook my Facebook page. Once I hit 1,000 followers, I'm going to give away a curd sampler, which you won last year.
That's
from
awesome.
Straight Cheese. From Straight Cheese, I'm 319 followers away. So, yeah, all you got to do is go to my Facebook page, like, follow, comment, curd platter in my featured post, and once I hit 1,000 followers, I'll randomly pick a winner, and you'll get the curd platter. It's 6 14-ounce bags of cheese curds.
They are so good.
There's fresh yellow, there's Cajun, French onion, ranch, garlic pepper, and dill and garlic. And shipping is included with from a local cheese shop here in the Pure Straight Cheese. So yeah, again, you don't want to miss out on that. So if you're on Facebook, come find me and like or follow me. And I want to give a shout out to Old Network, Ohana Packers, Iowa Joe, Mike Kawano, Aaron Davis for giving me the platform to podcast on. It's fun. It's always fun to come on and talk sports with people. And yeah, I took about a month break, and I'm starting back up to do it on the weekends. So it's fun to get in and talk with fellow sports heads. And hopefully, within the next few months, we can be talking about Doc Rivers getting fired from the Bucs because he's done nothing but make Giannis want to leave the team so quick.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that could be a whole show right there. I mean, he ruined Giannis.
I agree.
But yeah, hopefully, and we see some big things from the Badgers football program coming up. I mean, the transfer portal is a crazy thing now in college sports, but they got 32 decent players, 33 decent players in the portal. They lost a few good guys, but a lot of those few good guys, get big heads, and they go to these teams, and they get buried in the depth chart, and they don't see playing time, so let them. I'd rather have the guys that want to play at Wisconsin play there, just not for the money, but for the experience and to be a true Badger. So, again, Todd, I want to thank you for being on. I'll be in touch in the future, and we'll get you back on later on this year. How does that sound?
Sounds great, Brian. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for being part of the show, Carson, wherever you are.
Thank you so much.
Keep commenting, buddy. Yep, thanks, Todd. Good night, man.
All right. Bye.